We are standing on the brink of an economic transformation that's probably bigger than the Industrial Revolution. And yeah, most of what you hear out there is all about fear. But today, we're going to flip that script. We're going to explore how the end of jobs as we know them, well, it might not be a catastrophe at all. It might just be the start of something way, way better. So let's just get right to it. The question that's on pretty much everyone's mind. You see the headlines, you hear the buzz. Is some new algorithm about to make your job obsolete? I mean, for centuries, our jobs weren't just about a paycheck. They were a huge part of our identity. So what happens when that entire foundation starts to feel a little shaky? And believe me, it is shaking. A study from the folks who made ChatGPT, OpenAI, found that a whopping 80% of the US workforce could see at least 10% of their daily tasks affected by this tech. And for almost 20%, it could be half their tasks. This isn't some distant sci-fi future we're talking about. This is happening right now, and it's moving at a speed we've just never dealt with before. Okay, but what if this huge disruption isn't the end of the story? What if it's just the prologue to a much more interesting one? This is the big idea we're diving into today. The end of jobs isn't a void we should be scared of, but an empty space we get to fill with new ways of creating value, new kinds of community, and honestly, new sources of meaning in our lives. So how in the world do we navigate a shift this massive? Well, the answer isn't to sit around and wait for some perfect plan from on high. It's all about adopting a different way of thinking, a proactive, innovative mindset. It's about becoming a society of what you might call Skunk Works. So Skunk Works. It sounds a little weird, right? Well, the name actually comes from Lockheed Martin back in World War II. An engineer got handed a totally impossible task: build America's very first jet fighter in just 180 days. He didn't follow the rules. He just grabbed a small, scrappy team, set up shop in a circus tent next to a smelly factory, and that's where the name came from, and completely changed how we think about innovation. That's our model for building a future. And the method itself is actually really simple, but it's incredibly powerful. It's not about waiting for permission slips. It's about small, agile groups that aren't bogged down by red tape, who are just building and testing solutions right now, in the real world. And this isn't just some corporate strategy. It's a blueprint for our communities to create the tools we need to thrive when work looks totally different. So as we start to apply this kind of thinking, we stumble upon a really fundamental change in what we even think of as valuable. I mean, if AI is going to handle all the routine, productive stuff, what's left for us humans to do? The answer, it turns out, is pretty profound. It's all about relationships. For centuries, economic value was tied to one thing: productive output. How many cars did you build? How many reports did you file? But in this emerging post-labor economy, the whole metric shifts. Value is found more and more in the quality of our connections, in our trust, our ability to help each other out, our capacity to create and share knowledge together. Now, this doesn't mean human work just vanishes. Not at all. It just gets refined down to its most essential, most relational parts. You can think of it in four main pillars. There's care work, which is all about our well-being; knowledge work, the act of learning and teaching; creative work, which is dreaming up new possibilities; and governance work, which is just the task of organizing ourselves in a fair way. These are the things that machines, they just can't truly replicate. This quote, wow, it just perfectly captures this massive shift in value. It's from a crypto mentor who realized that her big mass market content was earning her almost nothing. But when she shared real, genuine, vulnerable moments with a small, dedicated community, the value that was generated was just immense. It turns out authenticity in small groups is worth so much more than mass appeal. Okay, so if the new value is in relationships, how do we actually build an economy around that idea? Well, this brings us to a really radical new take on a concept you've probably heard of: universal basic income. But forget waiting for some massive top-down government program. The Skunk Works approach says we can build UBI from the bottom up. The idea is for communities to form their own investment clubs, small groups that pool their resources to invest in things like local businesses or other assets, and then generate returns that provide a basic income for every single member. So why 99? It's not just a random number. It's kind of the magic number. You see, the SEC lets investment clubs of up to 99 members operate with very little regulation. But this isn't a limitation. It's actually the key feature. It keeps the group at a human scale, pretty close to what's known as Dunbar's number for stable social relationships. It ensures that a real community can form, not just a bunch of financial transactions. And to see how this works in the real world, check out the Hollywood Investment Club. This is a groundbreaking case study. It brings together 99 people from 3 totally different groups. You've got high-income folks from the entertainment industry who put in capital, middle-income service workers who contribute a mix of money and skills, and then you have unhoused individuals who contribute simply by being present and part of the community. And this is where the idea becomes truly revolutionary. In this model, every single member gets a return from the club's investments, no matter how much money they put in, or even if they put in none at all. The system recognizes that human life and human presence have inherent economic value. You don't have to earn your worth. Your presence in the community is your contribution. Just let that sink in. All of this brings us to the ultimate goal, because this isn't really just about replacing a paycheck. It's about building a society that has a fundamentally different purpose. For generations, the goal of our society has basically been to maximize economic utility, to make us all efficient cogs in a giant productive machine. This post-labor economy offers a brand new, much more ambitious goal: human flourishing. We can finally shift from a society that values what we produce to one that values who we are and how we connect with each other. And this is really our call to action. The future isn't some predetermined thing that's just going to happen to us. It's something we have to actively create. We have the tools, we have the models to start building it right now, in our own neighborhoods with the people right around us. We don't have to wait for anyone's permission. And that brings us to a final question. And this one is for you to think about. If you were totally freed from the need to work for a wage, what would you give? How would you use your time, your skills, your very presence to make the lives of those around you better? The answer to that question, that's where this new beginning truly starts.